Aloha and good afternoon. My name is Juergen Steinmetz, joining you from eTurboNews and live stream in Honolulu, Hawaii. And with me is Dr. Peter Tarlow, and he will tell us where he is. He's not in College Station, Texas, so I'll ask you about the weather there. The weather here in Hawaii is a nice sunny day, getting a few clouds, but it's a beautiful beach day, a little bit cooler. What is actually refreshing, and I don't mind. So we're talking about maybe it's like 74 or so, but cooler for Hawaii, I guess. And and we're going to hear a lot from Peter today, but he's in Mexico. Before we go there, just a few announcements for the World Tourism Network. Of course, we're both affiliated with, and eTurboNews is affiliated with. We have two very exciting appointments. One is Dr. Walter Memzebi. He was the former Minister of Tourism for Zimbabwe, and then he was the foreign minister and has been working with the African Tourism Board for some time as one of the executives. He joined now the World Tourism Network and our new African initiative and African chapter. And there is a lot going on already. He met yesterday with the Honorable Najib Balala, the Minister of Tourism from Kenya, and we will keep you tuned. A lot is happening in Africa. Also, we appointed Alain Sangange. He was the former Minister of Tourism from Seychelles and also a candidate for UNWTO, an international known figure, and he will be leading our public-private relationship. That means relationships we have with government and government entities, government tourism boards, and so forth. So a lot of movement in the World Tourism Network. We're following what's going on. We issued some position statements, and we'll fill you in the next few days. But from Africa, or from the World Tourism Network, what is not only Africa, of course, let's go to Mexico, and that's where Peter is. Where are you, Peter?
That's right. So we have gone now from Africa. We are now in Latin America. Right now, I'm in the city of Guadalupe, which is in the state of Zacatecas. And of course, for many people in the Catholic world, Guadalupe is also famous because this is the home of the Virgin of Guadalupe. So that's a very famous pilgrimage point for people in the Catholic world. But the state of Zacatecas is probably one of the colder states in the state of, speaking of weather. Today it wasn't too bad. It was about 16, 17 degrees Celsius, which is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, but it was also very windy. And so all night long, we had a lot of wind in today. So that made it feel a lot colder just because of the fact that the wind just went through you. So everybody was wearing a scarf in some form of windbreaker or some sort of coat in order to deal with the cold there. This is a really fascinating place. There are two cities really next to each other, Zacatecas, the capital of the state of Zacatecas, and Guadalupe. And they're like twin cities in that sense. People come here, the center, both of them are World Heritage Sites. And their center cities are absolutely beautiful. It's like being in colonial Spain. So you have all the modern conveniences on the outside of the city, you know, modern American hotels or modern European hotels. But when you get into the middle of the city, you feel like you've entered into 17th century or 18th century colonial Spain. So it's really quite a wonderful contrast. Of course, Mexico is world famous for its food. And I'm here working on training tourism police. And so we have two new groups of tourism police, one in the city of Zacatecas and a second tourism police that's forming in Guadalupe. So we'll have two specialized groups. They are being tremendously well supported by the State Secretary of Tourism and by other people within the state. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going to Acapulco, and I will be meeting this weekend with the mayor of Acapulco and possibly, I'm not sure yet, the governor of the state of Guerrero, talking about how Acapulco can use security as a tool to renovate itself, because it's had some really hard times. And then on Monday, I'm going to be meeting with a lot of important government officials in Mexico City before I come home. So this has really been an exciting trip. And you can really feel how Mexico is working hard to go beyond some of the negative reputation that it's had and really show the world that it cares about its tourists and it's doing everything it can to really make their lives comfortable, safe, and in so doing, making life better for its citizens also. So this is a time of real renewal and an explosion of ideas that are taking place. And when you compare that to the tragedies that went on today in Houston with the killing of 3 police officers and all sorts of other problems, and the tragedies that took place in Chicago, the murders in Washington, D.C., the murders in Los Angeles, the tragedies of New York City, and people being thrown into the subway tracks. Wow, I never thought I would say that I feel safer in Mexico right now than I do almost in the United States. So that's a really important lesson for people in the United States. It needs to get its act together and fast.
Yeah, and it's, I think maybe COVID has a lot to do with this. People are getting frustrated, a lot of mental issues all over the world. And it's not only in the United States. If you look in Europe, you have several similar issues. People are getting frustrated. There are protests, there are violent protests. It is not an easy time. So, and I applaud Mexico for taking the initiative, trying to make it better during hard times, because what better times there are to repair something when there is a crisis, and you can put the resources together you may not have in regular time.
Yes. That's I should say just and unfortunately the other phone's ringing. I don't want to get up to take it, so I'll just hopefully let it ring itself through, and hopefully you can wipe this out. Nobody ever calls me here, so that's kind of a tragedy. But I do think it's really important to know that that not only COVID. COVID's too simple of a crisis. People in Mexico are very upset about the open border. It's hurting people. Today, there's a whole series of newspaper articles about how much people are suffering on the Mexican side because of the American policy of the open border. And the murdering of the police officers in the United States has nothing to do with COVID. It's all been done by illegal immigrants who came into the United States because of the United States open border policy. So I think we have to realize that Europe is understanding that open borders can somewhat be destructive. And in this case, what we've now created is women being raped, children being kidnapped, men being turned into slavery. And in a lot of ways, the American-Mexican border is a real tragedy. And the responsibility is of the United States, not with Mexico. So COVID has been bad, but I think there's also terrible policies that are coming out of Washington.
Well,
so we have
at least you're there to change some of the policies.
Yeah, the people of Mexico are very angry about this. And I think if we're able to really work together, we can go back to some sort of level where sanity reigns, and because tourism cannot survive in a world where there's no security. And we have to have security in order to make the tourism world work. One of the things Mexico is contemplating, I can't guarantee it'll happen yet, is a national tourism police presence where police around the country try to deal with tourists and really make this a safe country where people, when you come, have a good time, enjoy yourself, stay away from drugs, have a good time with nothing more than a suntan and a smile on your face, because that's really the goal here.
Well, that's I think the goal for any tourism destination.
That's right. 100%. 100%.
And
one of the things yes, lots of other stuff is taking place. Lots of other countries here in Latin America are starting to face the issue of insecurity. Of course, Guatemala is very upset because there's a caravan coming toward the United States from Honduras. And many of those people are not Latin Americans. They're Haitians, There are people from Africa. There are people from Asia. And one of the big questions is, who's funding this? How do you get from Haiti to Latin America? You have to have a plane ticket. You can't swim. So this is really creating a lot of upset across Latin America. And it's really hurting the tourism industry across the board. And so we have to be well aware that COVID is a problem. I would not deny that, but it's not the only problem.
No, of course not. Many, many problems in the world. And we're having war tensions in Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. Not an ideal world. I mean, we're all.
No, how do you think those war tensions will impact tourism in Europe?
It's tourism. It's tourism in the impossible times. So we have to repair.
Yes.
We're talking about tourism. We have to repair it everywhere right now. It's a new feeling, but let's see it from the positive side. I mean, Mexico is doing something. Many other destinations are investing in making their tourism product better. Or changing the product so it could become better. So there is a lot of also positive things going. It's not murders and
no, of course. We have to fight two sides. One, to make the world better, but two, to deal with the problems that exist. We can't, become just ostriches. On the other hand, I think it's really important that we at the World Tourism Network are trying to push that everyone in the world should have a chance to be vaccinated, and that we have to stop some of the silly regulations. For example, it is really hard to get back to the United States when you have to have a test within 24 hours. Now that might work in a big city in Europe, but I will tell you, if you're in the countryside in Latin America, finding someone who can give you a test and get the results to you so that you can get get on a plane in 24 hours is hard. And so this is why I think it's important that we have standardization around the world so people know what's going on.
Well, I don't really object to the 24-hour issue that much. If you look at Europe, for example, I just came back from Greece and also had a test within 24 hours of departure in Athens. In Europe, every airport you can get the test. You get the results in 15 minutes.
You cannot do that in most of the world.
Yeah, but Europe, that's, I think, what we need to work on. We need to work on every international airport in any country in the world has testing facilities. It goes quick. I did it at Munich airport. It took not more than 10 minutes literally to get in line, to scan your app, and to walk out with an email and your Q code with a negative test. So it was not a big issue. And this can be done anywhere in the world.
Of course it can. So why is it not being done? Is it because poor nations cannot afford money, cannot afford to pay for this type of thing?
Well,
I don't think we can compare Europe to the rest of the world. I think Europe is an exception. It's not the norm. So how do we get this type of standardization? And by the way, many American airports do not have this. It's not only...
That's why I'm saying there is a big, like American Airlines, it's disgraceful. In America,
yes, it is.
In Los Angeles, coming to Hawaii, if you're not vaccinated, you still need a PCR test. What costs you $165 if you get it in LA. To get a PCR test in Greece is €15. It's about $20, and you get it in a few hours. So come on. I mean, we can do better.
I agree with you 100%. And then and that's Los Angeles. When by the time you get to many places in Africa, Latin America, Asia, you can't do it in less than 3 days, which is really a problem if you have to do it in the 24-hour period. People are tearing their hair out, trying to figure out how they can comply with the law. So one of the things I think maybe the World Tourism Network should be working on is pushing that there be standardization in every airport, major airport. I don't mean a little, airport of one gate, but every major international airport that has international flights should be having a testing center so that people can do it right at the airport. You're there at the airport 3 hours early.
I mean, in many airports in the UAE, even months and months ago, they had tests right at the gate. You could not get a flight from Emirates, and they're providing the test. First, they paid for it. Now I think the passenger has to pay for it. But come on, it's in Europe, if you pay for it, it's about €8. It's not a lot of money. And so there's no expense to the governments. It's just basically a.
So how do we get to places that don't have the facilities of Europe or the UAE, which is really even ahead of Europe? So you're citing really the elite places. How do we get other places to be able to catch up? Just like, for example, so many people, one of the big tragedies in the United States is universities are requiring students to be tested once a week when people around the world have no tests. And we could be using those same tests to be tracking COVID or whatever we wanted to track around the world, because it seems to me if you have COVID in one country, it doesn't respect borders, it crosses borders. And therefore we have to be working to make it so that the world is safe and not just an individual country.
Yes, and I think it can be done. The resources are there in the world, and you can do it without cost to the government. I don't really see a reason why it could not be done, but I guess we're not the one organizing it. But I agree with you.
No, but we can. But I do think that as the World Tourism Network, we can be pushing for things like
Absolutely.
that, and we can be a voice, being pressure that this is something that should take place. We could certainly start in the United States, which in many ways is backwards. You know, it's not easy. They make life very difficult. And you really wonder the insanity of the American government that said it went and bought 500,000 of these rapid home tests, which you cannot use for a plane, by the way.
Right.
And now that you can take one test, because you have half a billion tests in a population of 350 million people, means everybody gets one test and maybe a 16th of a test. And what good is one test? You need to have many tests in your home if you're going to use that system.
I mean, I was in Greece. I went to a pharmacy. I bought 20 tests, €5 each. What was a little bit more than most pharmacies would charge for it in Europe, but they had it readily available in a small pharmacy anytime you want. There was no supply shortage on this. Yeah. So you're absolutely right.
People are waiting. People in the United States are waiting in line sometimes 2-3 hours, and the country was totally unprepared during the Christmas, New Year's season when they knew there was going to be a lot of travel. And the fact is that everyone in the United States should have multiple tests in their home if we want to use a home test. And somehow we have to make that you can use that test to get on a plane. If not, okay, it's nice, but then what? And if there's a lack of therapeutics and a lack of other medications, so you isolate. That's basically all you can do.
I mean, a second thing, eTurboNews reported about it a year ago about masks, because the masks we were wearing in the United States, anything from cotton masks to medical masks, were not effective. We said it every day. CDC said you're not right. All these masks are okay, and you should not wear a KN95 or N95. Now it's 180-degree different. It's exactly the way Europe was a year ago. And what I noticed when I flew back from Europe, to get on the flight in Europe on any airplane, you have to wear an N95 type mask. You cannot wear any other mask. They don't let you on. You cannot even get into the airport. Now, once you land in the United States, you can rip this mask off, you can throw it in the garbage and take one of these non-effective masks. You're completely okay. Why is this?
Well, I think we see that the CDC has really dropped the ball on many areas. Now, the other part is I can't blame scientists for changing their mind along the way, because science is never settled. You should always be exploring to come up with what's better. But in this case, there were plenty of countries in the world that were giving the United States good advice, and the United States chose to ignore it. So this is a problem, not only in the United States, but many parts of the world. And it's not always easy even to get masks in many parts of the world. So again, these shouldn't take a lot of production. They should not be expensive, because they're expensive. People will not use them, especially poor people. And if you have a family and it's going to cost you $2 a mask, and you have a family of 4, that's $8 or $10 a day. That's a lot of money. That's $10 a day times 7 days a week is $70. If the family's only earning $400 or $500 a week, they got a problem. That's more money than they can afford. Masks should be free. Now, the United States has this idea it's going to send everybody one free K95 mask. What good is one mask? You know, you can't, you're going to use the same mask for a week. You're not going to do that. That's stupid. So we have to come up with some sort of better system than just making politics. We really need to get back to medicine.
Peter, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't agree on a lot of your political thinking, but I do agree on this one.
Yes, because, and it's good that you're coming to see that I'm usually right. So I'm proud of you. Anyway, I want to wish everybody, it's of course night here in Mexico, but if you have a chance, come visit Mexico. You'll have a great time. This is a place where you have the 19th century, the 17th century, the 20th century, and the 21st century all merge. I've been sending you, Juergen, some pictures from Mexico via email, and you have everything from a classical donkey to modern skyscrapers. So this is a place that has it all. Great cuisine, wonderful mountains, great beaches. They have literally everything is in Mexico. So, you know, from the people in Mexico, and they like to call themselves the amigo country, the land of the friend. So from your friends here in Mexico to everyone who's watching us on breaking news, sorry I don't have a background, and sorry the phone decided to ring, but I wish you all a really wonderful evening. Buenas noches.
Yes, and before you go, please stay tuned. We have another section with Jens coming up from Barbados. He's going to tell us a little bit about his new home. Jens is the CEO of the Barbados Tourism Board, and he produced a series of 10 different videos. So we're showing number 4 in a few minutes. And if you wanted to see our segment again, just go to eTurboNews.com. Click on our video link. It gets you to YouTube or to Vimeo, and you can watch all our sections. Also, Peter, I wish you a good night and
thank you.
All the best. And
by the way, I'm hoping that next week or the week after, that we'll be able to invite 2 special guests to our program. And one is the new incoming president of the International Chamber of Commerce. She lives in Mexico. It's the first time a Mexican has won that award. And she's incredibly interested in working with small tourism businesses around the world. I spoke with her today. She's becoming a real supporter of the World Tourism Network. And when you get to meet her, I'm sure you will fall in love with her too, because she's really a brilliant, dynamic woman who wants to help tourism businesses around the world.
Thank you, Peter. And let's give the floor to Jens. Good evening.
It could have been a beautiful golf game. It was a beautiful day.
Beautiful day here in Barbados at Westmoreland Golf Club. Yes. I'm here with Sir Gordon. And Sir Gordon, I wanted to talk to you about the value of sports tourism for Barbados.
Well, sports tourism for Barbados is not something new. This is Barbados is renowned for sports tourism, and the sports tourism product have been on board for a long time and have been quite vibrant as well. I think Barbados is one of those sporting destinations that many people try to reach.
You know, you're one of the cricket legends of Barbados and the West Indies, and cricket obviously has played a big role when it comes to sports tourism here. What do you think Barbados tourism should do to really leverage cricket, you know, as an asset to attract people to come to the island, you know, post the pandemic?
I think right now we need to revamp the tourism product. It is something that we have embraced for many years, as I said before, but now because of the recent halt in most sporting activities around the world, you know, I think we have to look at it in a different manner. Maybe we perhaps did not pay sufficient emphasis on the development of sports tourism for Barbados in the past, but because of the recent problems of this pandemic, I think we need to take a different look, a different view of how we promote sports tourism for Barbados.
Right, so I mean, I think with that, I think there's a lot of opportunity, and obviously leveraging legends like you, I think, will be an important factor as well to inspire people about what can be done in Barbados.
Well, we need to promote Barbados outside of Barbados as well too. Because I've been places where people heard about Barbados, but not a great deal is promoted for Barbados in those areas. We need to promote Barbados before the people get here. Don't just wait till they get here and tell them about Barbados. They need to know about Barbados, where they come in, what is there to offer, and how we're going to actually sort of offer it to them. I think we are a service providing country, I believe, and we're providing a service that is second to none. And most of the time, we need to revamp that, because other countries are doing it, and we need to get on board and do it, or do it better, so that, you know, we take the bulk of the market, and we're able to actually sort of promote Barbados in that atmosphere, so that the sports tourism product is out there in the marketplace for all to see more clearly than it has been in the past.
So Gordon, it's always a pleasure to play golf with you and meet with you, and I'm also looking forward to learning all about cricket from you as well, because I need to do that.
I'm afraid you're a little late, sir. My time has come and passed.
No, I think you're still going to be a teacher to kind of teach me on what I need to know about cricket and what I need to know about Barbados.
Hopefully we'll do it in the bar.
So Gordon.